ChampU BBQ weekend. We're going to talk about all the impressive stuff around that here and a little bit more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. Thank y'all for pulling up. Of course, that is Coop. I am Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to while you're here. Please wipe your feet. Like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Y'all think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So, on this early episode of the Sooner or Later Sports Show, me and Coop got a few things we've got to dive into and have a little fun while doing it. Talk about ChampU BBQ weekend and some of the players that pulled up and who we think may commit. We'll talk a little bit more about the Bowe Bentley effect on all of this, and then we'll just wrap things up with whatever we decide to talk about. So we appreciate it. This episode is pre-recorded because the Thunder will be playing tonight. We don't want to miss that. So happy Sunday, Coop. What's going on, my man?
Man, this is exciting. This is exciting because, man, you kind of go into, unless you're a big baseball fan, you kind of go into countdown to kickoff from this point on. You get the Stanley Cup is wrapping up, and, along with this. So it is going to be an exciting day. I think, Jay, I like to start off the show with this is, I don't want this, regardless of whatever happens tonight. It was just a few years ago that we looked at what, a rebuild, a complete rebuild. And I think that it's been wildly out there that if you were told back in April, hey, listen, after the last year's loss, you're going to be hosting Game 7 for the finals at home with a chance to win the championship. I think every single Thunder fan would have been totally excited and would have taken that at the opportunity. So Thunder up tonight, but we got a lot to talk about the football sport because it was an exciting week.
Had a lot of visitors came through that Sooner fans should be excited about. We talked about the ChampU BBQ list that we had going into it on Friday. Mainly, we went live, of course, so we're giving y'all an additional live. We did that because Bowe Bentley decided to commit late on a Friday, late evening. Well, kind of early evening, actually. It's around 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, but me and Coop was prepared for it. I had a feeling it was going to come down. I started putting stuff together. We started to hear the rumbles going around that Bowe was in town and that he was going to be committing, especially after Jaden O'Neal gave his decided to reopen his recruitment. And so with that, Bowe's in town, and you have all these players in town with him, and you start seeing him immediately start to recruit, Coop. The first thing you, of course, see out of him is he posts all the wide receivers that are going to be in town. He basically asks them, hey, y'all trying to play catch with your boy? Right? You're like, that's interesting that he immediately went after every wide receiver that he knew was going to be potentially in town, asking them, hey, y'all ready to pull up and play some catch?
Hey, you got to love the leadership. A lot of talk has been going around, and I think there's been a lot of negative recruiting. All the same, and so for it to get down to the LSU, Oklahoma. Both sides felt really, really, hopeful for his services. And, you got to give a shout out to, not only Jim Nagy and Brent Venables, Ben Arbuckle. This was a race to solidify a quarterback, went for 2 to begin with and try to get, your headliner going for this point on. And, so it's good to get him in right before the barbecue. I would say that timing was pretty fantastic because, it starts momentum as well as, earlier in the week, having names in crystal ball starting to drop. So excited. And I got to think that between here and July 4th, we're going to see quite a bit of fireworks when it comes time to the recruiting game for Oklahoma.
I think it's more going to be July 5th. And I only say that because we have already seen that there is a commitment that's coming down the line around the ends. But start off here. We'll go into that next. But you have Bowe Bentley posting here, Jaden Pettit, Davian Grossi, Zach Turner, Craig Dandridge, and then, of course, Daniel Odom, who is already committed to Oklahoma at wide receiver. I just want to play catch in Norman. Like I said, this is him being a leader and saying, hey, pull up. And that is what you like about quarterbacks. That was the thing I loved about Jade O'Neal as well when he was committed, was that this is what he was focused on. He was focused on bringing additional players with him and the ones that he want to play catch with. The wide receivers he wants that. He was recruiting, actually he's recruiting both sides of the ball, and we're starting to see the same thing out of Bowe Bentley, that he is also recruiting both sides of the ball. And so, but this is the starting point. You get this here. And, you know, Pettit was here last week. So was Grossi. Now you've got Turner, Dandridge, as well as Odom all pulled up. Daniel Odom all pulled up this past weekend. And Coop, you end up with something, you know, you end up with guys that you know that you hope the Sooners can land. And that's the first one here. It's, you mentioned up until what's that?
July 4th weekend.
July 4th weekend is going to be huge, and the expectation is that Turner is going to be in July 5th is his date. But he's got his final 6. He's got a lot of the heavy hitters, a lot of NIL heavy hitters in the U, Ole Miss, Texas, and SMU. He's also got Pitt and Oklahoma in there. And I'm going to be honest, this would probably be one of the biggest pickups for the Sooners because it would break a bad streak of attempts to get guys out of that said school on his chest, DVille. We have not done very well with Duncanville players.
It's one of the anomalies. You're always going to have schools that you do well at. You're always going to have schools that you struggle with, and you know, maybe even areas of the country. And it has been quite a conundrum to get Duncanville pipeline running. And so this one, July 5th. Obviously, my birthday is July 7th. I would like to have a little present, Mr. Turner. So if you end up watching this, give your boy a present. But you know, another dude who is you know, got a lot of size to him and really looks like somebody that you want to have on your squad. Big SEC type of guy. So pretty excited about that. You look at the names up there. You know, obviously Miami always up in the middle of things. Pittsburgh, you know, that's kind of your outlier. You look at SMU. They've been throwing their weight around this summer, and they've done a great job. If you have not followed the SMU recruiting, you know, they've done a great job. And then obviously OU, Texas, and then Ole Miss. So this would be a good one to get from Duncanville to break that streak.
Yeah, we need to do that, and I say that because Duncanville produces some players. They produce some dudes, and so it'll be good to get in there and get one. Once you get one really to commit, I think that helps with the end there. It's a very tough place to recruit because a lot of big schools go there. A lot of them. I mean,
yep.
You've seen them go from Oregon to LSU, right? I mean, they're going across country. So that's one of the bigger challenges. But I do like Zach Turner, and at his size, he's 6'2", and he's probably going to be one that Oklahoma is going to make a priority.
A Deebo Samuel clone. So if you need a good comp, you know, a bigger body guy like that, you know, I think 6'2", I've seen 200, I've seen 215. Regardless of that, whenever he's on campus, you're going to get a fine-tuned, you know, weight for him to play at. That is a guy, you know, if you remember way back in the early 2000s, we had Josh Norman. Josh Norman was that hybrid guy with the bigger body, big possession receiver. You had Fagan, you know, out on the outside, Savage on the outside, Woolfolk. But Josh Norman's one of the guys that keeps on, that's always often forgotten, and so that's a big possession guy who also has some juice in the tank that you know, after the catch. So pretty big, especially when you see what Deebo Samuel's done, no matter where he's been at.
Yeah, and Zach gives you, I mean, he's got a very extensive offer list from Oklahoma. Of course, you're 6 there at Auburn in there. Colorado was after him. He did an OV to Florida State. Georgia is on the list. LSU, Michigan, Oregon, basic Penn State.
Everybody.
If you name the big school, they probably offered them coast to coast. So that's why I'm talking about DVille. USC's on the list. A&M, Texas, Tennessee, Syracuse, Penn State, Oregon. Look, Big 10, Big 12, SEC. they are on this guy's list of schools that have gone after him. So it's good to land in the top 6. I'm hoping Oklahoma has an actual big chance there. On top of that, Craig Dandridge was one that, because he's about to commit very soon, if I'm correct. He's what? I think he's in the next few days. Let me look him up real quick. I'm trying to remember his exact date. I know that he was within the next week. Commitment date is on June. Thursday. So let me 26th. Get a calendar. So he's the 22nd? 26th.
Yeah, it'd be the 26th because wife's birthday is June 24th. So happy birthday to her a little early. But 26th is a date that I think that we're under the assumption here between you and I, Jay, that I don't think that this is an Oklahoma pull at this point. I think he is going to, be a commitment, and it's probably going to go Georgia's way, unless there's a crazy bag out there Georgia Tech can come up with. But I would say that this is a flip watch candidate as you see the season go along. I don't know how the staff will approach that and, keep some reserve funds available. But this is a guy that I expect it to go Georgia's way still. Unless Bowe Bentley just really got some QB1 action going, and maybe some of that Pascal Siakam, voodoo. I think this is going to go a Georgia route, and up front. But I think it's also going to be something. You see Georgia kind of reshuffling a lot of positions, new quarterback. Really working on getting back to the national championship conversation. And so if you see the season go on and OU and Georgia continue to do well, that's an opportunity. But as of right now, that's where I would probably sit.
Yeah, me too. It would make sense, him being from out there. He's definitely one that, like I said, Oklahoma would love to get their hands on because he's talented. And I think what got us all excited about him is that he actually showed up this weekend. Out of Milton, Georgia. That was one that we didn't think he was going to show up. He pulled up. And with him pulling up, this right here tells me, okay, Oklahoma has a legitimate chance. Like you said, he could be a flip candidate. That's why I'm excited about seeing Craig Dandridge in town, is he showed up or whatnot. And then, of course, you had another set of receivers that get your boy excited. Jordan Clay pulled up. Talking wide receivers right now. So I think Clay is a big visit for the Sooners. I was not sure about him coming. And it was more of a, I don't know, just me just being a little nervous, I guess. But he came through, said checking in with history, seeing what all the other receivers pulling up. Looks exciting. Clay has all the measurables too, 6'3", 190. Sounds like Baylor is one of the bigger pushers for him. Same thing with Davian Grossi. But one thing I do like about the having Nagy here and the trust I know he has in Emmett Jones is that Emmett is pushing for a lot of the big dudes.
Yeah.
And I don't think Arbuck was pushing back on that at all with his system. Get fast guys that are tall. Zachary Turner, 6'2".
Jordan Clay, 6'3".
Daniel Odom, 6'2". Dandridge, 6 foot. Jordan Clay, 6'3". You're going for a lot of big SEC-bodied receivers that you can hopefully throw in the slot as well. You want a Deion Burks type if you can find one. Yeah. But you're going for a lot of big dudes. Can't beat that. No?
Yeah, you've got him here in the Dolphins jersey up front. That is our boy Jordan Clay. Again, you look at the lists, he's consensus 4-star, Baylor, Texas, Notre Dame. He's got all the big names on there, A&M, Tennessee, SMU, Michigan State, pretty smart fella. Stanford offered out there too. So it goes coast to coast with him also. Right now, like you said, I think Baylor is the odds-on team to beat. But you get that man in the background back there. And if he gets excited, and I guess a lot of those guys in the Texas area, I mean, that's why I've always said, get Emmett that pay raise, because I mean the dude can develop some relationships, and so hopefully combo of him, conversations with Nagy, conversations with Arbuckle, and then that relationship with Bowe Bentley. Bowe has the Texas connection, the Texas relationship train running, and so a lot of guys do really listen in to him when he talks.
Yep. The key thing is, when we talk about EJ and what he can do, is exactly that, is the relationships we know he's building is there. He's had a lot of big-time players with potential coming here. He's got some really good ones on the team now, and all we got to do is make sure they're healthy. I mean, he got the most unlucky and the shortest stick last year, and that's where the negative recruiting is coming in. This is why we're talking about wide receivers right now. He was basically hit by everybody on the back end saying, oh, Oklahoma deals with a bunch of injuries with wide receivers. They don't take care of the wide receivers, blah, blah, blah. And that was only because of 1 year. I mean, you lost Andrell Anthony in the Texas game close to the end, right before you win it. Sucks you lose him in that game, and it takes him over a year to recover. And, they had the surgery. His body didn't react the way they needed it to, and then cleanups followed up. It's nothing on EJ when it comes to that. That's just unfortunate. Nick was hurt his freshman year. He came back his redshirt freshman year, did very well, and then started his redshirt sophomore year injured, and so just didn't work out there. Burks was solid, and then he had an injury. And anyway, going down the list of those, it's not something you can blame on EJ. It's not him.
No.
He had to go all the way down to his young players that he was, wasn't expecting to have to rely on super early and getting them really acclimated. It's so much better when you have a veteran in front of you to help you get yourself in the groove. I mean, it's still learning, right? That's the critical thing. So
it's a very big piece, because also you can run a guy like a Zon Kearney or Ivan Carry-On out, let them run 2 or 3 plays, come back, coach them up, as you're throwing the veterans back out there. And so that's going to be the one thing that we're going to need to see a lot of this year is, getting games put away when you're supposed to, so that you can run some of those younger guys out there. While the game still does have some meaning to it, it doesn't really help if you're up by 50 points over a Maine, and that's the only time that a guy can get in. But it's we talked about it in the green room going into this. It's one of those situations, Jay, where you got to look at just Oklahoma, over years, and what do we call last year? Does it match other years? Are there similarities in other years that we've seen 2 or 3, 4 times? And no, last year was just an absolute outlier, and so you kind of got to toss that one out. But I guess the blessings that are on the other side of it, and the silver lining is now you have a great wide receiver coach. You've got great leadership to tell what bodies are going to be the translatable to the NFL. And wide receivers, I mean, you could be a really, really talented wide receiver and go in the 5th, 6th round and have a good pro career right in front of you, because it's more and more, there's more of them to select from nowadays. But with the openings, now you get to restock some of that talent. And if you're Emmett Jones with a great relationship, you got a great quarterback prospect, and then Nagy says, hey man, you come here, we play you, you put up your end of the deal. He's like, I'll make sure that you get to the right team, and I'll make sure you get drafted, because he's got those relationships.
100%. And then you got the last one here we'll talk about in the wide receiver recruitment. It's going to be Dallas Dickerson, the wide receiver, the speedy guy that Oklahoma is like hardcore after. We talked about him on a few occasions, and he has his commitment coming up here on the 24th. So in 2 days, he'll make his commitment between Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Georgia Tech. He is at a Bogart, Georgia, 6'1", 6'2"-ish, 190-ish. And he's more of a speedy guy. He ran like a 10.4 or 10.38 or something like that in his 100 as a personal record. So that's pretty darn good. But he's got commitment coming up soon. There's been a few predictions put in in Oklahoma's favor. Josh McQuistron threw in one. and we usually listen to Josh because he takes his time before he puts them in. I'm waiting for one from Colin Kennedy. That's really the two-headed monster that I feel like they don't put in very many. And if we get that from them, I'm like, all right, I feel even more confident on that. But Georgia Tech's a threat, and so is Kentucky. LD Washington, former wide receiver coach here at Oklahoma, went to South Florida, and now is at Kentucky. He's pushing for him. Never know. It's a good chance that they could squeeze their way in. But the good thing for Oklahoma, I was looking at this, and the reason why we're talking wide receivers right now is I was going through and doing the math of it. There's a possibility of 6 wide receivers being gone at the end of the year. At least 5 in the graduate type situation or going pro. You may see 1 or 2 spots portal just because of playing time. And so you're going to have some openings. You're going to have bringing in a big class of wide receivers, 4 to 6. Definitely something that's a possibility, and you'll have a lot of players be able to play. I mean, you'll still have your leaders, your veterans in Carry-On, Kearney, E.T., Rajan, as well as KJ Daniels, who are both still here. You'll still have those burners in between. Satania will be around another year. Josiah Martin is still here. So you're going to have a big room, but you'll have the opportunity to add some additionals. Like the Zachary Turner one is the most interesting out of all of them because he's being recruited as a tight end by a lot of places. And it sounds like Oklahoma's willing to throw him in out there at the Y. And I think that that's way more intriguing to him than bulking up more to be a tight end.
And I think that the staff is also a big thing for OU for everybody to watch because these guys come in recruiting. It's not just, hey, can I play at a high level? Because I think most of the guys feel like they can play at a high level when you are making these visits to the schools that you're making them to. But I do think that where we lacked the capability last year with the staff and the play callers was using people to their strengths. How many times did you hear Gabe and Teddy talk about Rajan's last year and him not being used in a spot that really allowed him to let his talents and let his strengths kind of flourish. You had him out there doing a lot of wide receiver blocking, and it's hard when you're 5'9" and 145 pounds to be blocking SEC defensive backs, especially with safeties crashing down. Like, it's not like you're ever going to get a deal where you have Rajan's decleat somebody and then turn in on a fast moving safety. If you're that type of a player, you want to get him the ball in space quickly and let him go to work. And so I do expect that Arbuckle is going to get good looks at some of these guys because I think that there's a lot of guys that are going to be auditioning. And, no shame to them for last year because, again, I don't feel like we were putting guys in the proper space to succeed. And as we show that this year, that helps out recruiting going forward because now that negative recruiting starts disappearing and you have proof of concept out there for the staff.
Yep, I agree with you 100% on that. So that's really talking wide receiver. We did get a commitment, though, yesterday. So let's jump into that. But first off, thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 if you're listening to the audio version of this. We got a commitment, Coop. One that
Kick it.
is kicker. Yeah. We got one yesterday. Trace Rudd committed. He's a Coles 5-star, which Coles is the one that rates kickers or whatnot. So he is considered one of the top. I think he's a top 10 kicker in the country. And he's a lefty.
Hey, we all remember Trey DeCarlo. Trey DeCarlo was a big lefty. And you may have to check my math on that one, but that's what I do remember is, that was a dude who just came out and did his job. So yeah, as a Coles, 5-star here, I mean, you just love this part, man. It's just,
energy,
I'll
man.
Stop what I was saying. Just for the staff. I mean, as a kicker, you pretty much, if we know your name, it usually is because you are either just top of the top or you're a GOAT and not in the good type of GOAT. So, I mean, this is one that you want to see him, come in and start competing. I think he's a guy who year one, he can come in and compete. And whether it is to win the job or to push the incumbent, you like it because you always need kickers. And if you have a couple of good ones, that's not a bad thing either, because you're one swing away on a cold day from a tight hammy, and I can't have a game-winning kick against an Alabama or LSU or an Ole Miss, something like that. Not go your way because you don't have anybody behind your main kicker. So I'm really excited about this one, and for us to bring it up, there's got to be some understanding that this is a big commit.
Huge for us, because the one thing that we've talked about, we brought in a kicker out of the portal. The most important thing around that is they're playing in the SEC. You're going to run into a lot of close games, especially as you have a good quarterback play, which I expect us to have more solid quarterback play over the next few years in comparison to what we had last year. Not forcing a young quarterback to go out there and play that's still, trying to learn, acclimate to a system that wasn't conducive to his skill set. Yeah. We should have guys actually prepared and their skill sets being leveraged more. And so because of that, I do expect us to have not only solid quarterback play, but just solid overall play in general, offensive line, everything, to the point of, if the teams we're going up against is also in a position where they're, putting together solid play, we'll be prepared for any close games. That's what you're going to start running into. You're going to run into those games that are decided by one score or less, field goal or less, right? 3 points or less in some capacities. And this is where kicking is very important. If you wonder why we're talking about a kicker committing, it's because you got to make sure you have kickers that can handle the pressure of kicking in a lot of these. We're going to be traveling to the big atmospheres now. We're no longer traveling to Big 12 atmospheres. As y'all know, the Auburn game was huge. When I was there, the crowd was stupid. And it was the best part was watching them lose their minds when we got the Kip 6. And so understanding you're going to run into a lot of those. And because you're going to run into a lot of those, you want to make sure you're prepared for it.
And
kicking is going to be the most important part.
Not to drag it, Jay, back over to basketball too, but right now, tonight, free throws are going to mean everything. And you got to be able to hit the free ones. And so it's not even just field goals, but it's, hey, you got to be able to hit those extra points. And, in college, it's still very, very big. Those things are dang near freebies. And leaving food on the table isn't going to help you in some of these tight games. And, because, again, it changes not only how things happen at the end of the game, but also what is the comfort level for you to roll out there and know that, hey, listen, if we're down by 6 and going for it, we score a touchdown and it's automatic. That's going to be the big deal. Not all the big kicks at the end of the game is just all that you're looking for. You want somebody to hit the freebies and hit them, at a 99.5+%.
Yep. You want to make sure that they're hitting all of the basic ones.
Yeah. And give you a chance at the hard ones.
Yep. That's all you want, the basic ones to get hit. You need players that are going to be able to hit those kicks that are the free inside the 40s field goals. Got to make those. Inside 40 yards, basically. 45 to 50 and plus. Looking for more eliteness in the leg, but all these guys can hit up to 50, no problem. 50 plus is usually more elite legs, especially in hostile environments. So you want to make sure that you're getting a dude that can at least hit the 40 to 50. Or in the 40 down. 40 down is most important to me, because I think you'll do a really good job of driving the field. The toughest place to really get to really gain traction and get yards is in the red zone. And we've seen that. The competition, Texas struggled with that. That was one of their biggest struggles last year, was 20 to 20. They were great. Red zone has not been the best in the Sarkisian era. So got the kicker. So thanks y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5s. Definitely jump in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. Again, this one is pre-recorded. This is going live before all of the pre-game shenanigans happens for the Thunder, because me and Coop will be preparing ourselves for the game. This is going to be a fun Saturday. Got to talk about this one too, Coop. Got another offensive line commitment coming soon that we are very high on. Deacon Schmidt, 28th. So like Coop said, the weekend of July 4th, the expectation is there to be a lot of fireworks for us. Leading up to that, Deacon Schmidt's another big one that appears to be a big Oklahoma lean right now. I think we may have seen one crystal ball, one prediction for it. How you feeling about Schmidt today?
This has been a kid that I've been in on and very impressed with for quite a long time. I've already done one interview with him, working on a second one, maybe a commitment eve type of an interview, or perhaps, just right afterwards. Dude in Colorado, Windsor, Colorado. He's a big body. He puts in good amount of work. And when you see right here, this is pretty much what you would expect for a top-notch offensive tackle in Colorado, the home state, Colorado. They're no longer an embarrassment. So you know that they've got some. That's one that he's going to have in his finality. Alabama. Even though Georgia has had some more recent success, Alabama still has yet to be really kicked off the top of the totem pole when it comes time to just your standard of a program. And then the best offensive line coach in the country is Bill Bedenbaugh. And this is Deacon is a very technical guy with a lot of great size. And I think our boy PG has made the comments in the past that you're not going to see the top end, guys that are commanding the most money, 5-star guys this year, looking at OU because of what you got in Fasusi and Foje last year. Mm-hmm. But Deacon Schmidt is a guy that I think that, if this was a dude playing in Texas, he's probably in that 5-star territory, or he's right at the back end and one of the higher 4-stars. So really, really excited about him. If I threw crystal balls out, I would say I would throw one out for Oklahoma for him. But again, I let the kid have his run at his opportunity and his announcement and his moment. But he's one that I would absolutely love to have on this team, starting next year.
Yeah, he's on the list of players that I would love for Oklahoma to be able to close on. Love his tape, and I enjoyed him a lot over the last few months, especially with the interviews he's done with you. He's gotten more and more of my attention in that capacity. Yeah. So he's one of the many offensive linemen that we're pushing heavy for. Him go along with Devon Robinson, the O-lineman from Houston, Texas. He's in town. Sounds like he is enjoying his time in Oklahoma. There's going to be a lot of pictures drop probably after this recording. You'll start seeing all of the OV photos really drop down. Haven't seen anything yet for us, but I know that some of them are definitely dropping. So you get him on the interior, Schmidt on your outside. There's a few other targets. Now, defensive side of the ball, Oklahoma has really been pushing heavy. One name here, you got Mr. Jacob Eberhardt. Yeah. Him pulling up. St. Louis, Missouri kid from Kirkland. Top 400, 6'1", 210 athlete. Probably playing in the safety. I actually know that one of our young safeties is hosting him. And, yeah, I like the kid. And so, as you can see, he's having himself some fun here on his visit. He's one of the many defenders that we like. Taj Overton, the Owasso, Oklahoma kid.
Yep.
He is leaning this direction. We've seen an Ole Miss insider already drop a crystal ball or a prediction for him, future cast, whatever they want to call it. But the other one that's going to be big here is we need to get Jake Cruel on the boat. I know he's visiting, so yeah.
Yep. There's you've got Bowe Gendreau, you've got
yes.
Overton. These kids, these are all when you have elite defensive staff, and then you have the Nagy effect right there too. People can throw out all the stuff that you want about stars, and I'll have a video coming out here before too long about some of the 3 stars that turned into all-world players. And I can tell you this: we've had more 4 and 5 stars flame out than 3 stars flame out over the past 10 years. And so sometimes, the recruiting rankings, that is a starting point. But with Jim Nagy's train of success, I think that I trust him a little bit more. And that's no offense to any of the guys putting stars on things, because I know that those guys want to do what's best. They look at the measurables. They talk to people. They hear. They look at film. There's a lot that goes into it. And like I said, when you have the staff that we have right now, and you match it with the seal of approval from Jim Nagy, guys like the Jandro brothers, Eberhardt, Jake Kruel. Those guys are ones that you get excited about because they check all the boxes, and they're going to show up and they're going to be hard pressed to take a day off. They are going to be ones that are in the gym working and improving the craft day in and day out. And again, when you have a Brent Venables and a Jim Nagy, giving you the seal of approval, there's a part of you that wants to show them that they made the right choice. And so that's why I like these defenders on the that side of the ball. Is you can pretty much just say, hey, listen, we've been doing a great job at that. When you have guys like Eli Bowen, a 3-star guy, a lot of people wondered, did we take him just because of Peyton? Well, no, dude is, was one of the best, top newcomers in the SEC on the defensive side of the ball last year. And with what Boganowski and Hardy and Powers are doing right now, you feel great. Danny Okoye stepping in, Jaden Jackson, David Stone. I mean, there's just name after name after name of guys who have came in and now are ready to take a step here this year. And I think that you're going to see a lot more juice in the defense. And this is not going to be last year was a Danny Stutzman. As soon as he's gone, we're going to go back to the medium. No, I think that a standard of excellence on defense is back at Oklahoma.
Bringing the standard back. And I think the thing that interests me the most about the Nagy effect is I'm curious to see how his evaluations from the Senior Bowl really translate once we hit the field.
Yeah,
that's what I'm intrigued by.
I like the parallel, Jay, because, a lot of the guys going to the Senior Bowl, these aren't guys who are going to be showing up in the draft room, in the green room at ESPN. These are guys who you need a little bit more extra tape on, some appropriate NFL coaching in a lot of cases. And so I think that there's a good parallel with that. It's a lot of the guys who are, in the Senior Bowl, you're looking for dudes that you can find in the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds that are going to be, mainstays on your NFL franchise. And, that's why you get a lot of the coaches out there working with them, seeing what their coachability is. And I think that is a massive, massive, massive piece that it goes on, unspoken of is the coachability part. And for Jim Nagy to have conversations with these guys, put them in conversations like they would receive in, the draft interviews, how they would receive at the Senior Bowl. And, that one, this is year one. So I want to see that looks like, because like I said, if Brent Venables says, I like you, if, Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis, Jay Valai, Hall, if all these guys say we like you, and then you get the Nagy portion in there, those guys are going to want to listen to you. And if you say, hey, listen, it looks like this is your killer high school, go to break in case of emergency move, it ain't going to be that when you get to the league. So this is what I want you to add to your game. This is what I want you to focus in on, and that's going to get you to the league. And when you have a Nagy saying something like that to you, that's one that is going to. Those are words that are going to stick.
That's the ones we're looking for. Let's see how that effect really kicks in. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate us, review us, give us 5 if you're listening to the audio version. Coop, let's wrap this bad boy up. NBA Finals is about to populate. Again, this is pre-recorded, so you guys get to see our beautiful faces right before you really dive into the NBA coverage. How do you feel about the game tonight?
Jay, we're here. It's Game 7. At the conclusion of tonight, I think that people's emotions are going to be one way or the other. I think that you come back home. Sam Presti, multiple players, coach said it all the same, is this is why we put all the hard work we did all off season, last year, all season. It all means something for here. Role players play better at home. And I'm going to start by just giving a shout out to the Indiana Pacers. Just first and foremost, this is a team who they take advantage of every opportunity that you're going to give them. They went home, no matter what the drama ended up being around the injury or not. They had a bevy of players show up. And I think this is going to be a hard battle tonight. It's going to be one that everybody, there's every single, comedy, sports movie, every serious sports movie, you got to leave it all out on the field. I think that's going to be a call here tonight is what are the things that you can really depend on? What can we depend on tonight? I think one of the dependable pieces, Jay, is this crowd is going to be a fire-breathing dragon.
Loud.
And I can say this, that I am equally as excited for the lineup announcements as I am for the game. And so shout out to ABC, ESPN for bringing those back because though I do think that in the game 5, Oklahoma City definitely was pretty amazing compared to what the Pacers announcements was. Kind of a different thing. We'll see what it's like tonight. Do they bring that college atmosphere? I think that you can say Shea is 100% something that you can rely on. This is the MVP moment. Is Shea going to go out and really cement himself and give him something that he can look back on and go, no, 100%. I gave it everything. And Shea is at his best when he's able to be multiple, not just taking the ball, going for the mid-range shots. I want to see him set up his teammates here, and I want those teammates again. Like I said, role players shoot better at home. How is that going to work? Because if Shea gets you the ball, are you going to be able to take advantage of it right then and there?
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you there. My expectation is this team goes out there and does the same thing they've done every single closeout game in the playoffs. Is they're going to go out and start off very fast. The defense is going to be busy. They're going to cut off passing lanes, and they're going to fly out to a big lead to start the game. Then I expect some Pacers to do what they do best because it's a do-or-die situation, and they're going to close the gap. Then I expect Oklahoma to pull away. The Thunder should pull away in that. So I expect OKC to win. I don't know if they cover the spread, which the spread is sitting at 6.5. The last I looked, it opened at 8.5. So a lot of people have been jumping all over it. But I do expect us to be able to close this bad boy out properly. So we should. But we just got something that popped up, Coop, right before we wrap up.
Oh, man.
You got a commitment coming up tomorrow at 5 p.m. on a Monday. Danny Odom, the other Danny Odom. Actually, Danny Odom is his name, where the other one is Daniel Odom. Spelled different. One with a O-D-E-M, the other one O-D-O-M. It's kind of fascinating that we did that to ourselves. But his commitment is scheduled for 5 o'clock tomorrow. How you feel about it?
How do I feel about this one? There's a lot going around that OU felt very, 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 very good about him. Within the past week, with most of these players, you're going to have, and I will say this with players like Nebraska and Penn State in there, they're going to go till the bell. They're going to absolutely continue to put stuff out to the bell. I think that I don't know if I feel like OU pulls this one out. I do think that it's 50-50. I don't know if everybody on this chart here has the same opportunity, but what do the final conversations look like between now and, I guess, 5 p.m. tomorrow? So I will be okay with a Monday commitment. One way or the other, this guy is going to get his recruitment's going to continue on throughout the rest of the year until signing day. But, I would say that I'm not 100% sure on OU's chances right here. I mean, they got a fighting shot, and they've made the impression. So if it's about getting in, with a great defense, pointing up, if that's the goal, I think OU pulls it out. I think if other factors come into play, it might be something that OU has to continue to work on him.
Yeah, it sounds like he had a really good visit with Nebraska, which I get. Nebraska has been really aggressive in their pursuit for players. But, I mean, he's up from the Northeast, which kind of surprised me that it's not more of a Penn State lean, to be absolutely honest. A lot of those kids up there do typically stay in the same area. They don't really leave the home region very often. But I would love for Oklahoma to win that one. That would be a fun win.
Now, if you're a graphics translator, I think that people would say, "Hey, it kind of looks like the Penn State photos pointing towards the OU." He's when we've seen a lot of those deals, that would be that. I don't participate in the translating of graphics, but again, it's one that OU has high hopes for on this guy. So can we close out the deal? Is this decision done? With him making this announcement right now, I feel like that decision's probably made.
Yeah, I put it this way. I'm scrolling through his socials right now, and I don't see much on here besides Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Last set of visits. No, he went to Ohio State. Someone posted that. He reposted it. He came to Oklahoma. The post on him on the road. But I also have not checked his IG, which that's probably where a lot of his
chatter comes from.
Yeah. I'm sensing he's probably got a lot more chatter within the Instagram side. But hey, I don't know.
You play to win the game, right? So you get out there. I mean, we've put in the work.
Yeah, I see all the pictures here. They are. You've got Oklahoma, Penn State. You've got Ohio State. Is that Clemson on there? Yeah. I don't see anything from really anybody else besides those top four. That's really it. So if we got a shot, it's
Hey, Jay, on the Thunder we got Jay Will and Jay Will, right? We got two Jalen Williams spelled differently.
Oh yeah, you keep the tradition.
So if we got a Daniel Odom and a Danny Odom, I mean, let's say on a Thunder Sunday, maybe we get that thing done.
I love the idea of a I love
an Odom on Odom 7-on-7 in the camp. Odom wins is a guaranteed call.
I'm done with you. Because you're so right. That's how you're going to call it. It's going to be an Odom W here. So there's not much to really argue at all. So, all right. We're out. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. New to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5. We'll have another live where you all can drop in your questions and stuff soon. Maybe pull up something this week. Maybe pull up something during commitment times. We've got, looks like 4 days this week we've got commitments coming down. So maybe we'll jump on live for Odoms to talk through it and see how that goes. But until then, that is your boy Coop. I'm Jay. Thanks for joining us, and we'll chop it up soon. Peace.